Hey guys, I'm HOJ, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a best of one standard event with a Selesnya Aggro deck that I just built, and been having a lot of fun with it. All the links are going to be in the description, and the top pinned comment will have a link if you'd like to either subscribe, become a member, or if you'd like to donate. All right, let's jump into the deck. So, just kind of going off the power level of Formidable Speaker and what it can do in standard, I wanted to explore some other options. So with Formidable Speaker, we can use this to find any other creature in our deck, and that gives us a couple nice targets. So I also wanted to use the new card in the new set, Figure of Fable, which I think is going to be really powerful in a Selesnya deck that has a lot of mana acceleration to help turn this into, starts out as a 1/1. For 1 mana, you can turn it into a 2/3. And then if you pay 3 more, you can turn it into a 4/5. And then if you pay 6 more, you can turn it into a 7/8 with protection from each of your opponents. And that means all their spells, everything they can do, all their cards, just basically protection from your opponent and all their stuff, which is really powerful. So I immediately thought, how do we find Figure of Fable? So that led me to Brightglass Gearhulk, which can go and find, when it comes into play, 2 artifact, creature, or enchantment cards with mana value 1 or less, and then put them in your hand. So we can use Formidable Speaker to go and find Brightglass Gearhulk, or just directly find Figure of Fable. But this way, if we take the intermediary step of getting the Gearhulk, then we can get 2 copies if we want. Other nice targets for 1-drops, we have Seam, which can deal with any permanent with or non-land permanent mana value 2 or less. And then this is, kind of nice against the mono white auras deck, since some of their stuff is kind of hard to target. And then we have 2 copies of Meltstrider's Resolve. So this is an aura you can place on your creature. It gives it +0/+2, and it can't be blocked by more than 1 creature. And when it enters, your enchanted creature fights up to 1 target creature the opponent controls. So with the Gearhulk, this should be able to win most fights. You make it a 4/6 and then have it punch something. So you can get any combination of any of these 1-drops. Also, since we're playing green, definitely want to have a full play set of Llanowar Elves to help with acceleration. In our 2-drop slot, we've got a full play set of Tender Wildguide, which is kind of a nice mana accelerated dork with a little bit of upside. If you pay the offspring cost, you can get 2 pieces of virtual cardboard, a 2/2 and a 1/1 that can tap for mana of any color, or they can tap to put a counter, a +1/+1 counter on them and slowly build over time to give you like an actually halfway decent threat against control when a lot of your permanents are getting wiped away. Then we also have the full playset of Badgermole Cub, which is just a broken card, and it's just really, really good for mana acceleration and doing all kinds of silly stuff. So we want to have a full playset of that, and then a full playset of Sheltered by Ghosts to help with all of our pain land, and also just all the aggro matchups. For kind of the tutor targets, like the 1-ofs, which really help against certain matchups, we have 1 copy of Doorkeeper Thrull, which is kind of a non-bow with most of the deck. However, if you're losing, it's really nice against Reanimator. It is a 1-button win button against Jeskai artifacts. You literally put it into play, their entire deck folds. And against Reanimator, it's pretty good too. It stops most things. They can remove it, but you can play it at instant speed, so that's kind of nice. And then 1 copy of Ademi of the Silkchutes, which is really great against like blue-white control, or other decks like the Dimir deck that like board wipes every turn, just to give you 1 turn of reprieve where you can give all your creatures hexproof and indestructible at instant speed. Then for the other tutor targets, we have, again, the Brightglass Gearhulk, which we already talked about, and 1 copy of Cirina Bargainspinner. So this is kind of nice because this ideally goes and finds a copy of Sheltered by Ghosts against the aggro matchups, which Brightglass Gearhulk cannot do. You can also use it if you don't need like Sheltered by Ghosts to go and find Meltstrider's Resolve and then go and punch something. But it's nice because the mana requirements for Brightglass Gearhulk are surprisingly difficult to reach, since it is exactly 2 green and 2 white. And sometimes you have, you know, like 1 green and 3 white or whatever. So having a Bargainspinner as sort of a backup target is really nice. And then we have kind of the default, which is a full play set of Ouroboroid. This is basically, if you don't want to think, just go and get this, put it in play and win the game. You know, as long as it resolves and whatever. And then we've got 3 copies of Avatar's Wrath. I found that this was a really nice card to have against, there's a really nasty new Izzet elemental deck, which uses Sundering Flock, I think. So basically they put a bunch of like 4/5s and 5/5 elementals into play, and then they play the 5/5 elemental, which bounces all non-elementals, and pretty much just win the game from there. So to not lose to that, Avatar's Wrath is sort of a nice, you know, gives you sort of a turn to sort of reset. Or just like if you're in like a bad board state, it can be really good as well. So that's the deck. For the mana, I didn't want to get too fancy. Like, you could put in some man lands and some sort of whatever, but mostly we just want to have good mana. We want to have fast mana, so there's no mana that come into play tapped. On the first 3 turns of the game, you have 4 copies of Starting Town just to help sort of fix and give us the best mana possible. But we have some acceleration, so hopefully it shouldn't be too much of a problem. We have access to 19 sources of green on turn 1, and I think access to 15 sources of white. And then on turn 2 it gets better with the Hushwood Verge. So that's the deck. Average mana cost is 2.3. And let's jump in. I've only played a couple games on ladder with this, so this is kind of a starting point. But I just really wanted to see what I could do with the new Figure of Fable. And I know that I have a previous video which has like a Kithkin deck. So if you want to check out the Kithkin deck, it's in my playlist for Best of 1 standard events. So you can kind of go sift through there if you want. Links in the description. But yeah, opening hand looks great. We'll lead out here with Forest into Llanowar Elves. You always want to kind of do your acceleration first over your sort of aggressive cards. Ideally, just get the mana going, and then you can sort of use all that extra mana to pump into Figure of Fable and hopefully take over the game. This way we can go like turn 2 Badgermole into Figure of Fable. Okay, looks like we're up against Simic Aggro, so we're going to be racing. All right. This is a nice turn. We can double Badgermole here. This is kind of a silly amount of mana, which is we have 9 mana, 10 mana next turn, so we can actually completely level up Figure of Fable. Or we could just like do Gearhulk and go and get probably like Seam Rip and like the punch thing. Actually, that seems a lot better, to be honest. I think this is like kind of cute. Like, Figure of Fable is still amazing, don't get me wrong, but this is going to be pretty silly by itself. Alright, so we want to make sure to tap our mana in such a way. I guess we're going to need to get double punch with this. So if we go Brightglass Gearhulk, we're going to go and get double Meltstriders since we don't have white mana right now. And we will proceed to punch their face. And then we'll take out the elves just for good measure. Really slow them down. And they're just gonna say, that's enough. So yeah, Gearhulk's pretty fun. Yeah, the Meltstriders was a nice find. I was playing on ladder and someone used it on me and I'm like, man, that's a great card for what it can do. And like, especially sometimes like you don't have access to white mana, so having the Seamrip and the Meltstriders is really nice. All right, opening hand looks great. A little bit of removal, a little bit of acceleration, Ouroboroid. What else do you need? Ooh, and a Badgermole just kind of get things going. Love to see it. So could be up against like Dimir Mill. Although Requiting Hex, I guess Requiting Hex is used in a couple different decks. But it is possible that they're like backdooring into a Sultai Reanimator deck. I think what we want to do is Tender Wildguide here first, just so our Badgermole is a little protected. I guess they could counter it. Yeah, I think I want to do this one first and kind of put it out as bait. Also, if they don't kill it and we draw a land, we could then go Badgermole into Ouroboroid. But like a lot of things have to align for that to happen, so. Okay, so I guess this is like the Dimir version of, yeah, this is Dimir Mill, because they can get that back and do whatever. We could Speaker here. I'm trying to think what's like if we have any good tutor targets for this deck in particular. Like we don't have Kutzel's Flanker, so we can't get our own yard. I think we just want a Badgermole and just develop. Then we can set up hopefully for Ouroboroid next turn. I think we just want to just like put pressure. We could also Sheltered by Ghost to make it a little harder to kill their Badgermole, but like if they have another Requiting Hex in hand, it's pretty awkward. And also it'd be nice to save this for the Ouroboroid. I think we just go for it, because like I suppose if they counter it, we can just like set up again with Formidable Speaker. Yeah, I'm gonna try for it. See if it sticks. So they're probably just setting up for like a Day of Black Sun, or maybe just like a board wipe next turn. Guess there's like a small chance they've got nothing. But I'm pretty sure they have like board wipe on 5 for sure. So they might have Requiting Hex. They could have a couple different things here. With 2 mana, it's even worse. They could have definitely like Shoot the Sheriff. Certainly removal for Ouroboroid. I was gonna say if they didn't play another land, we could have like gone for like the Sheltered by Ghost play, give everything +3/+3. For some reason they're very afraid of us untapping with extra mana. Alright. Such is life. Okay, so we can go Speaker into another Ouroboroid and just set up. I think we just pitch the Llanowar Elves. I guess like Elves is okay. Actually, Meltstrider is not that good in this version. I think they don't have, other than like the Doomsday Executioner, they don't really have much. So I think we just pitch the Meltstriders. We could get a Brightglass here if we're worried about like a couple pieces of removal. We could also get an Ademi, which wouldn't be bad. The problem is we don't have enough mana to like use the Ademi if they like board wipe next turn. So I think I'm just going to go for the Ouroboroid play. It is just generally pretty good. And then we can kind of hedge by not playing the Llanowar Elves here if they just board wipe. Well, let's see. I guess if we play it and they don't have board wipe, if they don't have like board wipe next turn, can we kill them? So this would, yeah, actually we might be able to kill them. So I think I'm going to go for the Elves here and just hope they don't have a board wipe. Like if they do, obviously it sucks. But it's like so much better to have the Elves out if they don't have it. Unless they have like Singularity Rupture right now, which would... If they have like Singularity Rupture into River Churn, we're kind of screwed. But if they don't have exactly that, maybe we're okay. Okay, Doomsday. So we go down to 6 cards in deck. Trying to think what else they could have here. Because like, oh, okay, I guess they just go for Ouroboroid. But we just get them with our own Shelter by Ghost now, so we're fine. Curious what that last card is. Alright, so now we're playing around like Requiting Hex. Okay, I guess they just main phase it. Yeah, that's fine. They're at 15. So we don't just die to the Kavero. If we go for Ouroboroid, we don't have enough mana quite to do the Ouroboroid plus Shelter by Ghosts. We could just Sheltered by Ghosts and push. If we Ouroboroid, I guess we could like leave the land back to block. If they have a board wipe though, it's pretty wretched. Yeah, I mean, like, if we, like, double Sheltered by Ghosts here, or just single Shelter by Ghosts and push 6, do we have enough to kill them next turn? Hit them for, like, 9? Yeah, I think I'm just going to go for the Ouroboroid play. And then I think I just push with the Speaker. Just in case they've got nonsense. Usually, like in these kinds of matchups, like Shelter by Ghost is a pretty bad card. You want to like play it the very last turn of the game, like the turn you win. Just because it's such a liability if it goes sideways. Guess no attacks. All right, they're out of juice. That'll work. So we double Shelter. Actually, we can just single Sheltered by Ghosts. I think that's enough, right? +3/+3 all around. Yeah, they're super dead, right? 6, 18. All right, on to the next. Yeah, because usually they use the Restless Reef. If they have Restless Reef in play, then they can get the Doomsday guy and then mill you 4 cards and just get you that way. Played a number of those decks on ladder. It seems to be pretty popular. Okay, opening hand looks good enough. We've got Wildguide, hopefully into a turn 3 Ouroboroid. Seamrip to kind of like hold the ground until we get there. And then I guess if things go completely sideways, we've got Avatar's Wrath to reset. Alright, since we've got 2 starting towns, I'll lead out with one of them. Also just kind of doesn't let the opponent know what deck we're on. Alright, Jeskai Artifacts. So, if we get the chance to go and search for our Doorkeeper Thrull, the game will be over the moment we play it. Which is pretty cool. We're not worried about a whole lot of damage here. So I think we just want to double starting town in case we draw like 2 more in a row or something like that. Then we'll see if we can get an Ouroboroid on 3, unless they deal with our Wildguide. Okay. Synthesizer is pretty good. We could take a turn off to Sheltered by Ghosts here. It's interesting. Yeah. Because like if they go for like the turn 4 Battlefront or whatever it is to like go and find 2 3-drops like within the top 7 cards, it can get out of hand with the synthesizer, so we might need to take a turn off. Plus we can like play Ouroboroid next turn naturally, even if they deal with our Wildguide. However, if they have like Pinnacle Starcage, it's pretty awkward. They just get this thing back. And they could have that, either that or the other one, like the 3 mana, just get any permanent. So maybe we just kind of take the risk here. I guess we have like Avatar's Wrath kind of on backup. So I think we can get away with going for Ouroboroid in case things go a little sideways, if they have like the perfect draw here. I really like having Avatar's Wrath in the deck because it can like let you reset in a really nice way. Yeah, there's the Battlefront like we expected. And then if they get like just like a bunch of bonkers stuff, so they have like 2 or 3 6/6s, we can just deal with it. Alright, that actually wasn't that bad. So now, how do we want to do this? I think we get Sheltered by Ghosts on the Ouroboroid, get rid of the Repurposing Bay, Seamrip the 5/5. I think we do it that way. Then we can like Meltstrider's Resolve next turn. So let's try it that way. Because like we definitely want to shut down the Repurposing Bay. This is super dangerous. Now we can push. Hopefully get him in range. And if they make like a bunch of guys that we can't deal with, we can Avatar's Wrath. Yeah, Starcage isn't going to do it. Yeah, they're banking everything on that 1/3/3. It's not gonna work. GG. All right, 3-0. Quick break. All right. So I'm curious what you guys are trying in the new set. If there's any card that like sticks out to you, it looks like a lot of fun. Put it in the comments. I'm curious, like what you guys are working on, what kind of decks you've had success with, maybe ones that haven't gone so well. All right, opening hand looks good. We need a little bit more mana. We do have a figure on 1. If we can hit our 3rd land, we can hopefully get there. We do have 22 land, so hopefully we draw into some. Can use Sheltered by Ghost to buy a little bit of time. All right, this looks like the mono black deck that uses like the new 7/7 that comes in with like 6 -1/-1 counters and then uses like Gorehounds to like get it there. It's a pretty cool deck. Yeah, similar to like the mono black deck that I had in my last video. So if you want to check that one out, I think it might be a little bit different, but it's same idea. Low land count, very aggressive mono black. Okay, I think we need to buy some time. Hopefully no removal here. They probably have some, but we just kind of gotta buy time. Oof. Yeah, this might be one of our losses. Just need a little bit more land. The Dark Confidant is kind of a nice touch. I think I opted for like a hyper aggressive build, but I mean, this has like a lot of nice advantage. So that's kind of cool. All right, there's a land a little bit late. So I think, God, what do we cut here? I think we probably have to cut an Ouroboroid because like this can get us like 2 forms of removal if we can survive that long. Wrath is the same idea. Like Speaker, if we draw nothing, we just try to like get there. Like we could go for Cirina and like hope to draw the 4th land, but that's just kind of a crapshoot. So this is weird, but I think we pitch the Ouroboroid and go and find. I guess Figure could be like a 2/3, but that's like not much better than like the 2/4. Maybe we just go for Badgermole here. Or I guess like maybe we have to like to assume we get there and just go for Bargainspinner. Thing is, we're probably gonna. Yeah, I think I'll just go for Bargainspinner and like hope we get there. Yeah, there's Moonshadow. That's the card I was thinking of. Very, very good with Gorehound. If they've got any kind of removal here, it's just over. Yeah, that's... Oof. I suppose we could have gone for like a Llanowar Elves or something like that. Maybe the Badgermole Cub. That would have been another option. I don't think it really matters though. I think we're just dead to the Moonshadow here. Like we're taking minimum 6. I guess we don't throw in the towel quite yet. Yeah, like Wildguide isn't really good enough anymore. But yeah, I think we're probably just dead here with Timeline Color and whatnot. So we double block Moonshadow and we're taking 2, 4, 6. I guess we're not technically dead. Yeah, we needed like Avatar's Wrath there or something. It's just not gonna get there. But yeah, the mono black deck is fun too. They had theirs built a little bit differently than mine, but same idea. The Moonshadow is really good with the Gorehounds and other stuff like that. Bloodghasts, things like that. 3 and 1. Alright, opening hand looks good. Hopefully a turn 3 Ouroboroid. Could use a little bit of white mana. We don't have any access to white just yet. But I guess with Wildguide we can get there. Against black mana, I think I'm going to play the Wildguide first, hoping the Badgermole survives. Okay. Trying to decide if we're worried about like the life loss here. Like we could go Temple Garden, either like come in tapped, but if we have it come in untapped, we can attack them for 1. Might be kind of minor, but it might matter. Might be irrelevant. So yeah, I assume this is another Dimir mill deck. Shoot the sheriff or no? Bitter Triumph, sure. Alright, so they've got set up here with Doomsday. We have Sheltered by Ghost ready. Can Bargain Spinner here. Grab another Sheltered by Ghosts. Harvester. Yuck. Okay. Gonna need an answer for Harvester. Alright, there's the Restless Reef, so they're ready to go with the Doomsday. Yeah, because now they get us down to 6 cards, and then they just use Restless Reef next turn to get us down to 2. Which is pretty brutal. Guess we double Sheltered by Ghosts here. Hopefully no Requiting Hex in response. They've already used 2. Do they have it? Yes, they do. That's probably it. I don't think we can come back from this. I guess we'll... Yeah, I think we're just dead here. Unfortunately. It's a good deck. It's not my cup of tea, but it's a good deck. 3 and 2. Can we fight on? Alright, opening hand looks good. A little bit of acceleration, a little bit of removal. Got a figure. We're on the draw. So we'll go Forest into Llanowar Elves. Hopefully we can survive one turn. Requiting Hex, yes or no? Looks like they got it. Everybody and their sister is running Requiting Hex. So maybe this is like a Grixis version of that elemental deck that runs like Sundering Flock and like, I think it's Hearth Elemental, something like that. All right, guess we just play them out. So there's like the crab, I think, that's 4 mana, where they can tap down some creatures. I guess they don't have it this turn. Like the 5/5. Sure. You know what's fun? If you like evoke one of these creatures and like do like a splash portal. I think Splash Portal works. We can like bounce it in and out and just get it to stick around. Man, these Requiting Hexes are just brutal. Yeah, there it is. Sundering Flock, or Sunder Flock, excuse me. So you kind of need like the Avatar's Wrath to like fight back against that nonsense. Okay, so can they cast it next turn? They'll have an extra 2 mana. This will be worth 2, so 2, 4. Yeah, they can definitely cast it. That is annoying. Man, that sucks. It's like we want to take Baelmerk, but like getting Baelmerk is so awkward right here. Yep, and they can just cast it otherwise. So this is kind of almost want to like wait to play our Sheltered by Ghosts. It's really awkward. Maybe I'm just supposed to play it anyways, I don't know. Deceit can strip our hand. It's pretty gross. Yeah, you bounce it and then you take it away. Yeah, and Sunderflock is just like such a good finisher. Alright, we got our figure. Not gonna have enough mana to do everything though. So we can play figure, we can, if we drop to 11, God, they just kill us next turn. It's so brutal. Because they can just Sunderflock and bounce all of our stuff. This card is just a silly magic card in this deck. So we almost have to Shelter by Ghosts, I guess. Wow. Yeah, this is so awkward. So we like, I guess we put it on the Badgermole Cub. We don't attack. Then we can tap our mana to figure. Because they're gonna get the Deceit back when they Sunderflock. Alright. Let's see, I guess, let's put it on our figure since that's one of the cheaper cards. Yeah, now they just Sunderflock. Oh man, what a beating. Yeah, you almost need counter magic just to deal with it. They can even just like Vibrance here. Would be good enough. Thankfully they don't get to like Deceit us again, but now we're at 12, they're pushing 11 next turn. Also, I think, can Vibrance hit? Yeah, they can just kill us with Vibrance. I think we're just dead. I guess we can block. So we Badgermole Cub. Figure of Fable. Yeah, and that's it. Now they can use Deceit to bounce our guy. And then get rid of it. I think all that's left here is going to be the Tears. I don't think I see any way of us getting out of this. Yeah. Well, we did what we could. Unfortunately, kind of a short run. That elemental deck is completely silly, so maybe check that one out. 3 and 3 didn't quite make back what we entered, but yeah, hopefully still had a little bit of fun. Thanks guys for watching. If you do like this kind of content, if you want to see more and subscribe or help support the channel, again, link is going to be the top pinned comment if you want to do that. And have a great night.